In this world, those with high scores can have priority in choosing superior beastmen. But the woman who ranked last leveraged her status as a princess and forcibly assigned 7 to herself, not only making them kneel on the ground to bark like dogs every day, but also serving them with a small leather whip even. If they were top-tier big shots with status and reputation in the Empire, they could only endure it, all because the laws of the Interstellar Federation stipulate that if a male dares to harm a female, he will be gifted a silver bracelet. So when I crossed over, I found an incredibly handsome man with an amazing figure kneeling humbly before me. The dog has been disobedient. Please punish the dog, mistress. The man was covered in whip marks from being beaten. Looking down, I was holding a whip in my hand. Before I could figure out what was happening, the man directly took my foot and placed it on his chest. Wearing a flattering expression, I shouldn't have talked back to mistress. Please punish me, mistress. I only hope that after mistress has enjoyed herself, you can give the soothing agent to male star. He didn't mean to offend you. I promise there won't be a next time. I was instantly stunned by his actions, but just then a wave of unfamiliar memories suddenly flooded into my mind. So, this was a beastman world where males were lowly and females revered, due to the female ratio reaching an astonishing 1 to 1,000. Females could have one main husband and an unlimited number of side husbands, while males were born with low-tier mental abilities, if irritable without the spiritual soothing power of a female. One can only become a beast and die in pain, so even if the person before is the high and mighty marshal, upon returning home, he can only obediently kneel before his female master and accept whipping. In the year the original owner turned 5, due to a royal conspiracy, she was exiled to a garbage planet to grow up, and was only brought back after adulthood, yet she lost the most basic healing ability as a female. Her queen mother, out of guilt, directly bestowed upon her 7 of the Empire's most outstanding men. Not knowing that these men all had their own pride, they could not tolerate becoming the partners of a useless female, thus using various reasons to delay the marriage dates, which to a princess was a blatant humiliation. But with the Empire in the midst of chaos, the Empire's safety depended on these several powerful males. So the marriage agreements could only be temporarily set aside. The original owner completely became a laughing stock. In a fit of anger, the original owner injected Yi Nangsing, who came from a common background, with an estrus inducer. Males forcibly induced into estrus. Besides using soothing agents, only high-level females could soothe them. Otherwise, they would become a crazed beast due to mental collapse. But who knew Yi Nangsing would rather become a beast than bow to the original owner as a marshal of an army? Huo Mingjin witnessed the hardships Yi Nangsing went through and could not bear to see all his efforts. Strength had already turned to ashes, which is why I decided to sacrifice myself to become the original master's principal husband. As long as you are willing to give the soothing agent to Nangsing, from now on, I am willing to serve you as the female master. But I just shook my head. No need, I'll give the soothing agent to you right now. Having traveled through time, I desperately want to stay far away from them, to avoid being secretly retaliated against and killed by them one day. But just as I was about to get up and fetch the soothing agent, suddenly a sharp wolf howl was heard. The next second, a guard rushed in, panicked and flustered. It's terrible, Princess. Major General Nangsing has already transformed into his beast form due to a mental collapse. Upon hearing this, Huo Mingjin immediately rushed to the backyard. I trembled all over. In the original host's memory, according to the black market seller, it shouldn't be possible to speak so soon. If Yi Nangsing really turns into a beast, Huo Mingjin is afraid he'll directly tear me apart. I quickly grabbed the soothing agent and followed. At this moment, Huo Mingjin was standing outside a huge iron cage, and inside the cage, a giant wolf was rolling and biting in agony. Its wounds horrifying to behold. A genius major general who rose from the slums, now reduced to such a state. Noticing my arrival, the giant wolf's fierce eyes seemed as if they wanted to bite through my throat. I stumbled back several steps in fear, trembling as I took out the soothing agent and handed it to Huo Mingjin. Now, is it still useful to give it to him? Before Huo Mingjin could even speak, the whispers of the guards beside them could be heard. Major General Nangsing already turned into a beast. What's the use of bringing out the soothing agent now? At this moment, another guard stepped forward, injecting the soothing agent within the first 5 minutes after transforming into beast form is still effective. However, male beasts in beast form have extremely strong territorial awareness. Apart from females, they simply do not allow anyone else to get close. And what precious female would be willing to take such a risk? Hearing My face paled for an instant. In other words, in this kind of emergency, administering the soothing agent injection is something only I can do. Seeing this, Huo Mingjin's eyes flashed with a trace of undisguised mockery. It wasn't that I didn't notice this scene, but this matter truly. It wasn't me, but what can we do now? I'll shoulder the blame for the original owner. This matter started because of me, so let me go. As the words fell, Huo Mingjin seemed to have heard some joke. His tone filled with doubt. You're willing to go, aren't you afraid? Yes, and right now there aren't any other females available. Didn't we just say that male beasts naturally won't harm females? Let me give it a try. After some thought, Huo Mingjin still agreed. As the door was opened, the guards' hearts rose to their throats. That's the princess, after all. What's more, Major General Nangsing is an SSS-grade male beast. If he goes berserk, how could a useless female without any healing ability possibly protect herself? But Huo Mingjin seemed resolute. Open the iron cage and let her in. Seeing this, the guards had no choice but to unlock a small door large enough for a human form to pass through. At that moment, my heart felt like it was about to leap out of my chest. The hand holding the soothing agent was already covered in a dense layer of sweat. I could only comfort myself inwardly, silently repeating, beasts don't harm females. Male beasts don't harm females. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Inside the cage, the giant wolf lowered its body to watch the gradually approaching figure, clearly a sign of impending attack. But having never kept a pet, I didn't know what this meant. As soon as I lifted my foot to step over the iron gate, the giant wolf lunged straight toward me. Terrified, I shut my eyes tightly, yet the pain I expected didn't come. Had not come through. Instead, what came through on his face was a wet, dripping sensation. The white wolf never expected that moment the little female appeared. At that moment, what it clearly wanted was to swallow her whole in one bite. Yet after she drew near, it inexplicably felt excitement and wanted to get closer. And I, facing this mouth that could devour an entire person, was directly scared into collapsing onto the ground, terrified that the next second it would eat me. But the giant wolf, like a big dog, came close and sniffed me, then rubbed its large head against my chest, as if it wanted to cover this little female before it entirely with its scent. At this moment, even though I was very afraid, I still firmly remembered my purpose. Raising my hand, I aimed the sedative at the silver wolf's neck and injected it, then immediately held it in my arms to comfort it. Don't bite me, okay? After giving you this injection, you'll get better very soon. Be a good boy, okay? This maneuver is like coaxing a child. A trace of disdain flashes in Silver Wolf's eyes, yet the tail behind him honestly twists into a propeller, and he deliberately opens his mouth wide at me, revealing a mouthful of fangs. Just as I start to feel scared, he then licks my face. This demeanor is exactly the same as those immature little boys in kindergarten. The guards outside the cage simply can't bear to watch. Is this really their wise, mighty, aloof and cold genius young general? And under everyone's gaze, I gather my courage and slowly inject the serum into Silver Wolf's body in less than half a minute. The entire injection is complete, but strangely, Silver Wolf doesn't immediately revert to human form. Instead, he shakes his body and crazily snuggles up to me. When I reach out to stroke his head, the entire wolf visibly becomes happier. Seeing this, I thought it was because of the soothing agent that Silver Wolf regained his senses, no longer worried about being eaten in one bite. One immediately hug him back. Goodness knows how much I love fluffy things. Wow, your fur is so soft. How can you be so good? And your ears are so soft too. Silver Wolf, receiving a response, holds me and licks me over and over, to the point where I can hardly handle it. Okay, stop licking. While dodging, I look towards Huo Mingjin outside the cage. When will Yi Nangsing be able to revert to human form? The cage outside, Huo Mingjin did not speak, although his face showed no emotion. Inside, a storm of emotions was already raging. According to common sense, once the comfort agent is injected into the male beast's body, he should immediately return to human form. Yet now, Yi Nangsing still remained in beast form, which could only mean the comfort agent had failed. But why had he stopped going mad? Huo Mingjin's gaze turned toward the giant wolf playing with me, a flicker of something strange in his eyes. The next moment, the giant wolf's body gradually shrank, then transformed into a handsome, sharp-featured youth. This person was precisely Yi Nangsing's human form. I turned to look at Huo Mingjin. Is he all right now? When will he wake up? Huo Mingjin looked at the man in the cage, his fingertips trembling slightly, and snorted coldly. He's fine. He'll wake up soon. I let out a sigh of relief. That's good. By now, I had accepted the fact that I had crossed over As long as I don't cause trouble like the original owner did, then relying on my identity as a princess, I could surely live well in this world. Yet imagination is beautiful. Reality is cruel. The steward suddenly rushed over in a hurry. Princess, it's bad. Princess Aylin and a large crowd of reporters are blocking the entrance. You'd better go take a look. In the original owner's memory, after giving birth to her, the queen lost her ability to bear children. So when the original owner went missing, she could only adopt. Her own younger sister's daughter was enfeoffed as a princess. Because the original host lost her healing ability, Aylin naturally became the sole heir, yet fearing her position was under threat, she would still secretly cause trouble for the original host. Just as I walked to the door, I saw the villa door being violently slammed open. Aylin's worried voice came from outside. Ran Nanxing is a hero who fought bloodily for the empire. How could your own selfish desires reduce him to a beast? I truly cannot bear it. Although a female cannot provide soothing for another's male, you have no healing power. Unable to bind with Major General Nanxing, I promise. In the future, I will only give him periodic soothing. Nominally, he will still be your male beast. I will not compete with you for him. Letting another female help soothe one's own male beast is no different from an insult, even though at this point I already planned to sever ties with several beast husbands. I still could not just suffer others' bullying for nothing. But before I could speak the truth, I saw the other party reveal a triumphant expression. The next second, a middle-aged woman straightforwardly knelt down. Princess, I beg you to spare my son. You have no healing ability. Nanxing will die. Please let Princess Aylin perform spiritual soothing for him. How could I, a junior, accept an elder's kneeling worship? I hastily reached out to help her up. Madam, Nanxing is fine now. Please, get up first. But the more I said this, the harder the woman cried. As everyone knows, it was I who deliberately went to the black market to buy the inducing agent, wanting to force Nanxing to submit to me, which is why everyone now believes what I'm saying is false. Mrs. Yi even used her forehead to bang loudly on the ground. Princess, please spare my son. He is only 20 years old this year. This scene of overflowing maternal love moved many people present to tears, and reporters immediately picked up their cameras to frantically start shooting. Some even began to discuss how the two princesses were worlds apart, suggesting that General Yi should be with a kind and capable female like Princess Aylin. Aylin greatly enjoyed the crowd's current adulation, but only she knew that the placebo is fake. This was all part of her carefully laid plan from the start. Even if she had really been injected, it wouldn't have mattered. Only she could soothe Nanxing. She intended to steal away, one by one, all the males around that useless female. Since her back was turned towards the reporters, no one could see the expression on her face. She directly flashed a provocative smile at me. Enrin, I know you like Major General Nanxing. I won't compete with you for him. If I really had any intentions towards him, the two of us would have been together long ago. And it wouldn't have. At this point, she deliberately paused. Everyone understood exactly what she hadn't finished saying. A reporter from the crowd stepped forward first to speak. If Princess Aylin really had feelings for Major General Yi, the two of them would have been together long ago. Where would that leave the time for Princess Saran to be found? Princess Saran herself isn't liked by males. Do you think all females are just like you? As soon as these words were spoken, they immediately provoked a wave of mocking laughter from the crowd. Everyone, don't say such things about Ranran. I think she already knows she was wrong. Ranran, let me go in first to soothe Major General Nanxing. Don't worry. I really won't compete with you for him. On the surface, Aylin was acting for the greater good, but she silently mouthed provocative words at me. Right, her goal this time was precisely to steal him away. If it were the original host, I'm afraid I'd already have started a fight with her in front of the reporters. But who am I? Naohuru Saran, how could I possibly let her lead me by the nose? Want to put on a show? I'll play along. I crossed my arms over my chest and emphasized again. I just said, Nanxing is already fine. There's no need for your help. The more no one believes it now, the harder it'll slap them in the face once I bring out Nanxing in human form. Thinking of this, a bit more smugness spread across my face. Aylin, however, thought I was just bluffing. As time ticked by, Aylin grew increasingly anxious and stepped forward to push me aside, while simultaneously positioning herself on the moral high ground to criticize my actions. Ranran, you've disappointed me so much for your own selfish desires. You'd let the Empire lose such an outstanding talent. No matter what, I'm going to save him today. Everyone behind her cheered her on as if she were a hero sacrificing sisterhood for the greater good of the nation. But then, from inside the villa gate, A familiar figure suddenly emerged. What are you all trying to do? His gaze instinctively fell on the woman kneeling on the ground, his face filled with confusion. Mother, why are you here? What are you doing? Realizing the newcomer was Nangsing, Eileen, who'd been ready to showcase her charm, was instantly stunned, and so was Lady Yi. The reporters, cameras in hand ready to snap photos and publish the news, were even more taken aback, stunned in place. So General Yi is truly all right. Sharp-eyed reporters noticed the beads of sweat on Yu Nangsing's forehead, and a faint blush still lingering on his face, as if he had just experienced something pleasurable. And in the entire empire, only I have the right to treat him this way. Little did they know, Yu Nangsing was recalling the scene where he turned into his beast form and begged me to snuggle like a dog, then glanced at me standing nearby, which inexplicably made him feel uncomfortable. When his gaze turned to Eileen, his expression immediately reverted to its usual aloof demeanor. Thank you for your concern, Princess Eileen. My female master treats me very well. With Yu Nangsing standing perfectly fine before everyone, the previous rumors of me mistreating him began to collapse on their own. Eileen was so angry she gritted her teeth. Why did Yu Nangsing refer to Su Ran as his female master? Could it be he has already acknowledged a master? Clearly, the soothing agent was switched ahead of time. So why is this happening? Though countless doubts flashed through her mind, she maintained a considerate smile on her face. It's good that General Nangsing is all right. I merely didn't want the Empire to lose a talented general with illustrious military achievements, and acted hastily out of urgency. Please forgive my recklessness. These words earned her another round of praise from the crowd. Princess Eileen is too gentle, truly deserving of being voted the most beloved and popular female in the entire star system. Yu Nangsing's expression, however, showed no change at all. He even spoke up to remind her, Princess Eileen, please continue to address me as General Yi. I worry my female master may feel insecure, and what you owe is an apology to my female master instead. We should have had a pleasant and wonderful evening. Hearing this, Eileen, who had maintained a smile, showed a slight crack in her expression. But her image of being beautiful and kind-hearted absolutely must not break. She could only take a deep breath, turn to me, and bow in apology. I'm sorry, Ranran. I didn't understand that situation clearly and caused trouble for you and General Yi. I hope you can forgive me. Her attitude was very sincere. In front of so many reporters, if I didn't forgive her, it would make me seem narrow-minded. So I immediately waved my hand generously. It's fine, I'll forgive you this time, but you should be more careful next time. Don't show such strong concern for another female's male like you did today. When it comes to sarcasm, I've never been afraid of anyone. I almost outright said she was coveting someone else's male. If she wasn't coveting, why would she pay such close attention? Ha ha ha. I really am too bad. At that moment, I hadn't yet noticed that Yu Nangsing, standing beside me, glanced at me, the corner of his mouth inexplicably lifting slightly, something even he himself didn't notice, and the reporters, hearing my words, also sensed something off. As if a filter had shattered after seeing everyone off the villas. The living room was left with only me, Huo Mingjing, and Yu Nangsing. Both of them were gazing at me from in front and behind, with me sandwiched in between. I'm already starting to sweat profusely, just as I was preparing to open my mouth to apologize. Yu Nangsing spoke first. There's a traitor in the villa. Huo Mingjing swept a cold glance. I've already sent someone to deal with it. Before I could even react, I heard a wail coming from the backyard, mixed with the sound of bones breaking. My face instantly turned pale. After dealing with the traitor, the next one to be dealt with wouldn't be me, would it? At this moment, Huo Mingjing turned to look at me. For some reason, he felt an impulse to scare me. What? Mistress, do you want to come and see how we punish betrayers? Never mind, I was so scared I kept backing away, only to bump into Yu Nangsing's firm chest. Seeing this, Huo Mingjing, a flash of displeasure glimmered in his eyes, though I didn't notice it. I just hurriedly stepped aside, mustered up my courage, and apologized to Yu Nangsing. Sorry, Nangsing, I shouldn't have secretly given you the inducing agent. It was all my fault, even though it was something the original host did. In everyone's eyes, it was me who did it. Yu Nangsing froze for a moment. In the Empire, there had never been a case of a female apologizing to a male. His heart seemed to skip a beat, and his mind once again recalled the intimate moments we had before, leaving him dumbfounded as he uttered, "No, it's fine." Hearing this, I silently let out a sigh of relief, then sincerely looked at both of them. In that case, let's cancel the engagement, based on the attitude the few beast husbands had toward the original host. If I offend them again someday, I'm afraid I won't even know how I died. My life is more important. After all, with my current status as a princess, I can still live lavishly here. For the rest of my life, ha ha ha, just as I lost myself in fantasies of a future life of extravagance, Huo Mingjin suddenly let out a sneer. Where did you learn these tricks of playing hard to get this time? Too bad you already failed once before and lost the support of the males. Do you think you can survive here for 3 days? Check your balance first. Upon hearing this, I hurriedly took out my phone to check and saw that notification bar showing a balance of 0. My pupils instantly dilated. Why would this be? Aren't I a princess? Why don't I have even a single cent? That's a lie. Right, dressed as a princess yet, still a penniless beggar at this moment. Huo Mingjin's deep voice came through again. Take another closer look. I didn't understand why, lowered my head to look, and discovered there weren't just 2 zeros at the end, but a long string. The original owner actually owed almost a small fortune. All right. My hanging heart completely died. So there is something in this world even harder to accept than waking up as a penniless beggar. And that's becoming a detritus. Penniless beggar, the Ori. The Lord searched his memory and realized that not being a princess means you can't spend money endlessly, let alone a useless person without healing abilities. Being able to receive a subsistence allowance each month is something to be grateful for. But the original owner, under Aaron's overt and covert provocations, started spending recklessly, leading to massive debts now. However, imperial law protects females' rights, allowing them to share their husband's assets after marriage. No wonder Huo Mingjin thought I was playing hard to get by mentioning divorce. At this moment, my face was already as red as a monkey's butt. But I still managed to say with difficulty, it's fine. I can repay it myself. The royal princess receives 1 million star coins each month. And by then I'll sell all of the original owner's luxury items. Surely I can pay it off, Huo Mingjin sneered. Then I hope you can keep your word and stop bothering US in the future. I nodded, like pounding garlic. Yes. I will definitely keep my promise. Woo woo, 100 million it'll take forever to repay. Wait, I don't even have living expenses for tomorrow, heavens. I must be the most miserable transmigrator in the world. But right then, my phone suddenly chimed with a notification of star coins being transferred. I believe you've truly reformed. Consider this money a loan from me. You can repay it slowly once you have the means. Seeing the 10 million in my balance, I was instantly too moved to speak. What a good person, truly a great person. Don't worry, once I go out and find a job to earn money, I'll repay you. But I didn't know, in the Empire, allowing females to go out and earn money is manifestation of male incompetence. Yi Nangxing frowned. He was just about to say something when a sharp alarm sound resounded throughout Central Star. District 13 is under attack, requesting Marshal Huo of the 1st Legion and Major General Yi Ture. Turn to base immediately. The alert sound ended, and snapping back to reality, I hurriedly asked, do you need me to prepare anything for you? Yi Nang stunned for a moment. He never dreamed that I would actually offer to help on my own initiative. No need, I might not see messages on the battlefield. If you have any matters, you can contact the butler. After saying this, the two of them boarded the warship heading to the battlefield, and I could only silently pray in my heart. But early the very next morning, I received a summons from the palace. As soon as I stepped through the palace gates inside, a stern shout came. Suran, you kneel down for me. I frowned and looked at the woman sitting in the main seat. It seemed it is Belena, the mother of the original owner. Rin sat beside her with a faint smile, and I immediately understood that it must have been her doing once again. If I were to kneel now, how utterly humiliating that would be. Stubbornly, I voiced my doubt. Why, as soon as these words were spoken, I only saw a strange flicker pass through Erin's eyes. I knew that if it were the original owner standing here right now, she probably would have long since knelt on the spot because of her experience in the slums and without any healing ability. If she were stripped of her princess title again, she would likely return to her former way of life. Therefore, in front of Belena, she had always been humble and ingratiating, and it was precisely this that made Erin seize the opportunity. She only needed to whisper a few words in Belena's ear, and once again she could see the original host's figure. Seeing me not kneeling, Belena instantly flew into a rage. What did you do last night? Don't you have any idea in your heart? So it was about the inducer matter, but he is my fiancé after all. What's the problem with me exercising my rights as his master? Last night, I crammed knowledge about this world. Although what the original host did was immoral, if we really get into the details, it's not that big of a deal, so kneeling is absolutely out of the question. Moreover, I have already obtained Yi Nangxing's forgiveness. This can only be considered a private matter between him and me. If you don't believe me, you can contact Yi Nangsing right now, as I spoke. I took out my phone, but I didn't know that. Last night, Aaron had embellished and recounted how the original host had harassed 7 males, all of whom were pillars of the empire, saying that if I angered a few of them, it might shake the queen's position. So when Belina saw me take out my phone, she quickly had the guard snatch it away, glancing at the string of call records. Several men, averaging 300 calls a day, enough to make anyone see black before their eyes. She immediately snapped coldly. Rebuked, your male partners all have serious matters to attend to. You must prioritize the overall situation. Moreover, you can't even help relieve their burden. They don't even have the competence to understand courtship, so they naturally have the right to reject you. Don't make your desperate pursuit look so pathetic. I'll let the management. I will prepare a new phone for you. Now go downstairs. I just found it utterly baffling, so it turns out I was called here just to be scolded, and then have my phone confiscated, watching my retreating figure. Erin behind me was absolutely furious. She never expected this times me to be so tough, and more importantly, the queen actually didn't impose any punishment. As I walked out of the palace, I began thinking about my future life in this world. A female without healing power is nothing here. It seems I must enhance other abilities. Just as I was pondering, I suddenly felt a wave of dry mouth and thirst. Since hovercars aren't allowed in the palace's core area, in the end, I could only brave the 100. The sky of the place is walking under the scorching sun when passing by an open glass door. The cool air emanating from inside immediately caught my eye. So comfortable. Walking closer for a look, I discovered it was a convenience store, and inside just happened to have the ice water I wanted to drink. At this moment, several uniformed males were lining up in a queue to check out, but I didn't notice that each of them had a First Research Institute work pass hanging from their necks. This was their own internal convenience store. Completely unaware, my eyes were only on the water in the fridge. After getting the ice water, I also casually picked up some small snacks, then silently took my place at the very end of the line. Yet, just this one small action left the males in the convenience store stunned. This female actually knows how to queue. She's so polite. Do you not smell it? She smells so good, so beautiful, and so fragrant. She must be a high-class female. I really want to be her male. A group of male beasts are deliberately suppressing. Lowering my voice, I didn't hear their discussion. I just wondered why it was taking so long in line. My mouth was dry, and my tongue parched. Unable to resist, I licked my lips, which instantly caused a wave of exclamation. Some couldn't even handle the stimulation and fainted on the spot. Fortunately, the males nearby helped hold them up. Some bolder males even took the chance, while I wasn't paying attention, to secretly take photos and post them in the group chat. Seeing the news, the males all acted like male peacocks, spreading their tails, tidying themselves up before rushing into the convenience store, hoping to catch my attention. Yet, facing all of this, I remained completely unaware, just happy that it was finally my turn. The cashier, upon seeing me, even pitched their voice higher. A total of 38 star coins. You can just swipe your work badge here. I looked confused. Work badge? I don't have a work badge. Can't I use mobile payment? The male waiting nearby instantly realized the opportunity had arrived and swarmed forward. One of the quick-eyed ones had already placed his work badge on the payment machine. After the payment was completed, the man explained to me, "This is our internal research facility convenience store. You just swipe your work badge, and it's deducted from your salary later." Only then did I realize I had stumbled into someone else's internal convenience store. How embarrassing. How about we exchange contact information? I'll transfer the money from just now to you. The man was waiting for this exact moment, quickly pulling out his prepared phone. "I'm Zhu Zhengyu, and you are..." But before I could even start introducing myself, I was interrupted by a voice. "Su Ran, what are you doing here?" At that moment, the man didn't even realize his voice carried a hint of jealousy. I searched my memory and was instantly stunned. Isn't this one of the original host's 7 beast husbands? The dean of the Empire Research Institute, Shen Weizhou. Shen Weizhou wore a cold expression. Ever since I entered the convenience store, he had been on the 2nd floor, watching the whole process, seeing how easily I had attracted all the single males in the entire research institute here. His face turned grim, looking utterly exhausted, especially upon catching the sweet fragrance drifting through the air. A wave of inexplicable gloom washed over my heart. This is not a place you should be. Knowing I was in the wrong, I nodded in agreement to leave immediately, but thinking of that kind male who helped pay for me, I still decided to exchange contacts first. However, this action, in Shen Weizhou's eyes, was seen as me still wanting to stay here. Su ran, even pursuing someone has its limits. Do you want me to call security to escort you out? Faced with this repeated expulsion, I also flared up. Why so? Fierce, no need for you to drive me away, I'll leave on my own. In the heat of emotion, a wave of sweet fragrance emanated from me, sweeping overwhelmingly toward Shen Weizhou. He seemed to sink into a sweet floral core, his heart racing madly, his entire body growing scalding hot. This was the precursor to a beastman, entering heat, unaware. I was just about to brush past him and walk out. As for that kind male who helped me, I could only wait until next time when Shen Weizhou wasn't around to sneak back and repay the money. Who knew Shen Weizhou would suddenly grab my hand? You're wearing perfume, he practically spat out these words through gritted teeth. In this world, high-ranking females naturally possess a unique fragrance. The powerful ones can even trigger male arousal on the spot. Considering my lack of healing ability and my prior record of giving Yu Nangxin an inducer, this made him unable. I have no doubt that this scent is an inducer. He has now confirmed that I came specifically for him. But I only feel that the person before me is somewhat inexplicable. I disdainfully shake off his hand. What are you talking about? Who sprayed perfume? I can indeed smell a faint scent emanating from myself, but I have no solution for now. This Shen Weizhou actually pointed it out in public, deliberately making me lose face. Damn it, he looks decent. How can his behavior be so vile? I, in a fit of anger, directly step on his instep. You jerk. After stepping, I quickly run out of the experience store, afraid that if I slow down for a moment, I will be retaliated against. Seeing the departing figure, the males visibly become disappointed, all blaming the dean for how he could be so harsh to such a pretty little female, but they only dare to be angry and not speak. Meanwhile, I just returned to the villa and curiously picked up my phone to check what the research institute specifically does. Before crossing over, I was originally working at a scientific research institute specializing in pharmaceutical research. If I were to look for a job, it would naturally be best to return to my old profession. Coincidentally, as soon as I logged into the Jin Research Institute's website, I found that they are recruiting research assistant, 30,000 star coins per month, limited to females, no healing ability or educational requirements. It's almost as if they directly wrote out the requirement of only needing females. My eyes instantly lit up. This was the dream job tailor-made for me. I quickly submitted my resume, and that one move set the research institute abuzz. Oh my, could it really be that a female was willing to come out to work, and it was even the female from Noon? I want to personally go pick her up. After receiving the job offer on the very next day, I arrived at the research lab to report for duty. But little did I know that Irene was actually working here too. The moment she saw me, her pupils abruptly contracted sharply. Since she is not the queen's biological daughter, she had no choice but to diligently study and do things that females are unwilling to do, which is why she came to the research institute. Now, with the real princess standing right before her, she instantly sensed a hint of danger. Even though she hated it to death inside, she still had to maintain a kind facade. Feigning surprise, she said, Ran, what are you doing here? Could you be the female here to interview for the research assistant position, but aren't you the one who hates working the most? Saying this, she hurriedly covered her mouth, putting on an act as if she had let something slip. Then instantly added with an apologetic tone, Ran, you don't have any assets. Is it that you don't have enough money? If you really need money, I can give you some, but you can't just freeload off the research institute stipend. Every cent here has to be spent on critical needs, let alone a position as important as research assistant. Post has been filled. The development of placebos concerns the mating season of billions of males, leaving no room for the slightest negligence. Irene spoke, while feigning sincerity and taking out her phone. How much money do you need? Is 1 million enough? I'll transfer it to you now. But if you take the money, don't cause any trouble here. I didn't get a single word in edgewise before being branded as someone who came to the research institute to freeload subsidies due to lack of money. Even the staff who had warmly received me earlier turned cold, and I was instantly so angry I laughed. Meanwhile, in the lounge on the other side, Shen Weizhou was pouring basins of cold water over himself. This is really strange. That strange, peculiar fragrance has appeared again. His cheeks flushed red, his parched body desperately craving to be marked, to be soothed. He hastily pulled out a placebo. But just before injecting it, he hesitated. Should he really still use this? But that scent was truly so intoxicating. He glanced at his own disheveled reflection in the mirror, which clearly showed a visage of urgent desire, desperate for satisfaction. He quickly wiped all the sweat from his forehead, changed into fresh, clean clothes, and when he lifted his gaze again, he had transformed back into the aloof, refined, and polite Dean Jin of the Research Institute. Turning to follow that fragrance, people are naturally drawn to warmth. No one likes a cold placebo at this moment in the corridor. The rivalry between Irene has not yet subsided. On what grounds? My gaze falls on the identity badge hanging on the other person's chest, and the corners of my mouth curl into a mocking arc. You are nothing more than a research assistant at the Academy of Sciences. In terms of position, we are equals. What right do you have to make me leave, Your Highness, Princess Irene? I deliberately emphasized the tone of my final address to her a little more. If the original host hadn't gone missing, how could Irene possibly have been crowned a princess? Just the daughter of a duke, purely in terms of bloodline. The original host had already surpassed her by 800 streets. Irene heard the mockery in the words, and the gentle facade she had forced nearly shattered on the spot. She gritted her teeth, about to say something when a familiar figure suddenly caught her eye from behind. She instantly became gentle and considerate again. Dean Shen, what brings you here? Are you here to check on the research progress? But the man didn't even glance at her, walking straight up to me. What are you doing here? Shen Weizhou only felt his dream shatter. He was like a vicious dog lured to death by the scent of meat, only to finally find the food and discover that the one emitting the fragrance was actually that scheming female. Could it be that this female liked him so much? For him, she was willing to lower her status and sneak into the Academy of Sciences. Yet, instead of feeling annoyed as he should have, he felt a trace of something else inside. Secretly delighted. Yet I feel somewhat dazed, holding out the hand that's holding the identity badge. I saw online that the Research Institute is recruiting research and development assistants. So I came for the interview, and recruiter Zhao Song said I had already passed. My face was full of the satisfaction of having found a job anyone with eyes could see. At that time I truly liked this job. Yet someone just had to jump out and shatter all of this. Dean, you know this. How would Ran know anything about conducting experiments? I think Zhao Song did not handle this well. If the lab is really short of female R&D assistants, I have a level female friend. I can invite her to come and give it a try. In the past, Irene, to ensure her own uniqueness, never took the initiative to mention recruiting females. But now the person coming is the genuine princess. I'd rather find a few A-class females, at least in terms of ability and family background. She has always been number one. Shen Weizhou nodded in agreement and took the identity badge, symbolizing status, from my hand. This position is not suitable for you. Zhao Song made a mistake later. I'll have him apologize to you. However, he did this only for his own selfish reasons. He couldn't accept the little female being surrounded by all kinds of males, especially those without healing abilities and yet extremely handsome, so he simply and decisively made this decision. I instantly flared up. Why? I joined the Research Institute through the proper procedures, and I haven't even started working formally yet. How can you say I'm not suitable? Give the badge back to me. Seeing the little female persist relentlessly, Shen Weizhou only felt that during his recent estrus, he had incidentally turned himself into a fool. At this moment, he actually found the little female's angry, glaring at him expression quite adorable. But before he could explain, Eileen spoke up for him first, because standing before you is the director of the Research Institute, who here holds veto power over all people and all matters. So Ranran, you'd better leave. Seeing Eileen's smug smile, I didn't pay her any attention and turned to look at Shen Weizhou. How about we make a bet? If I prove my own capabilities, you will apologize to me personally and invite me to join the Research Institute. If I lose, I will never set foot here again. Entered the Research Institute by half a step. Shen Weizhou hadn't had time to reply yet. Aileen was the first to laugh. Ran, is that a new joke you learned? It has successfully made us laugh. But we are really busy. If you want to tell jokes, can you come back when we are on vacation? You should leave for now. And from beginning to end, I didn't spare a single glance at her. Aaron is nothing more than a small fry in front of me. Shen Weizhou is the one who truly holds the power of life and death. How about it? Dean Shen, dare to make a bet with me? Afraid of being rejected, I took the initiative first and brought up the matter of the advanced researcher position competition at the Research Institute. I just saw on the Research Institute's internet that there is an advanced researcher job opening for competition. All employees of the entire Research Institute can participate. According to the Research Institute system, I have the right to apply to join the assessment. This competition was proposed after Shen Weizhou became the dean. The purpose is to screen out true talent. He is the system's creator and naturally also its maintainer. Even if I really have no ability, he must accept my challenge. Sure enough, Shen Weizhou could only choose to agree. Soon, the 4 major senior researchers arrived at the scene. The assessment is divided into 2 parts, written answers and practical operation. The questions are randomly drawn from the intelligent database researched by Shen Weizhou himself, making cheating impossible. Several invigilating researchers all do not look favorably on this assessment. After all, looking across the entire empire, how many females are willing to go out to work, let alone this kind of senior researcher position? Little do they know that they are about to be slapped in the face. Although these are different from my original world. But research has no national boundaries. In my previous life, when doing pharmaceutical research, I had already achieved notable accomplishments. These questions are nothing but child's play in my eyes. I started burying my head in doing the questions. One of the researchers saw my neither humble nor arrogant demeanor and thought I was just putting on a show, but when he stepped forward to check, he was instantly shocked. The other researchers, seeing this, showed puzzled expressions and thought I had answered too poorly. Little did they know that I quickly answered 3 or 4 questions in just 1 minute, and every answer was correct. When Zhao Ping returned to his seat, the look of shock on his face still hadn't faded, which made the others even more curious. But no matter how they asked, Zhao Ping said nothing. So they could only step forward one by one to take a look. When they returned, their faces had already taken on the same dazed and stunned look. Only Shen Weizhou remained seated in his spot without moving at all. He even took out his phone and sent Zhao Song a message to revoke my internal research institute access. Before the results were even out, he had already single-handedly sentenced me to death. After all, since those few were so shocked, the answers must have been too poor. So when Su Ran's results were announced, when he saw the score, he was instantly dumbstruck. You should know, the highest score ever in the senior researcher competitive exam was only 9.16, and the person who scored full marks was actually that trash female he had always looked down on. After he calmed himself down and headed to the practical lab, he just happened to hear the cheers coming from inside. Oh my god, Renren, you're just too amazing. You solved such a difficult experiment in no time, and even extracted a new component material. This is a route we had never even considered before. Several senior researchers all rushed to offer generous terms and sent me team invitations. When I saw Shen Weizhou at the door, I smugly lifted my chin at him, yet Shen Weizhou didn't find it annoying at all. Instead, he found it somewhat cute. Even he himself didn't notice how fast his heartbeat was at that moment. I stepped up to him and said, "So, Dean Shen, now you won't dare deny what you said before, will you?" I stared straight at him. Shen Weizhou, for once feeling a hint of embarrassment, shifted his gaze away and softly hummed in agreement. Su Ran, welcome to the Research Institute. I was overjoyed, pulling out my phone to tell Zhao Song the good news, but as soon as I opened the Research Institute's chat app, I received an insufficient permissions message. Right then, I suddenly remembered that during the earlier exam break, I found that Shen Weizhou had been looking down at his phone. Was it just to cancel my permission at the Research Institute? At this moment, I only had a suspicion. The next second, Zhao Song privately sent an apology message that completely confirmed my thoughts. I instantly laughed, turned my head and began to question. So you never believed I could pass from the start, right? Shen Weizhou, you really make people feel disgusted. At this point, I had already lost the patience to entangle with men. It's just a job after all. The most important thing is that I have proven my ability. It's that Shen Weizhou has poor judgment, not that I, Su Ran, am unworthy at most. I can just go out and find another job. I turned and left without any attachment. At this moment, Shen Weizhou finally remembered what he had done. Looking at the little female's disgusted gaze, for the first time in his life, he felt panic. He grabbed my hand with an anxious expression. Ranran, I was wrong, but I only felt disgusted. The second Shen Weizhou touched me, I quickly withdrew my hand. Stay away from me, you make me feel disgusted. Shen Weizhou only felt his heart being forcefully gripped, hurting so much that he couldn't breathe. In the past, someone had told him that males would feel unbearable pain from a female's ordinary words. At that time, he only thought that person was pitifully stupid, but now, just looking at my cold gaze, he felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. No, don't use this kind of. His gaze fell upon her. Moments ago, the little female had been smiling at him so sweetly that the extreme contrast made the heart ache. even more intense. In the end, he made a decision that went against his ancestors, grabbing my hand and slapping it hard against his own face. Everyone present widened their eyes in shock, and even I was completely stunned. Just as I was about to say something, Shen Weizhou's remorseful voice rang in my ears. Ran, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I was too arrogant and underestimated. You are the most intelligent and capable female I have ever met. If we let you leave, it would be the greatest loss to our research institute. If you can set aside past grievances and stay, we will provide you with better resources. I am the one who did wrong. You have every right to punish me. I hope you won't let my momentary arrogance lead you to make an angry decision. Shen Weizhou's gaze was sincere, the slap mark on his face clear and visible, and my anger immediately subsided by more than half. Given that he had gone to such lengths, and since I truly enjoyed this job, what reason was there to leave? All right, I can stay, but Shen Weizhou, remember this. I am not some useless person here at the institute just for the stipend. You begged me to stay. Shen Weizhou nodded and apologized to me earnestly once again, making everyone around feel as though the sun had risen from the west. This was the first time they had ever seen Shen Weizhou like this. They guarantee without hesitation that if I choose to refuse, their dean would definitely cry on the spot. I generously expressed, it's okay, the fact that I can stay means I've already forgiven you. I believe you made that decision because you didn't understand me, and that's why. You made that decision. In the future, if we get to know each other, this kind of misunderstanding won't happen again. Shen Weizhou's heart skipped a beat. The little female just said she would continue to get to know him in the future, but only when a female wants to establish a relationship with a male would she do something like that. So, is the little female extending an invitation to him? His heart started thumping wildly, and he happily led me to his office, personally reinstating my access permissions. In the past, as the dignified dean, he would never have done such a thing. Trivial matters, yet now he feels incomparably happy. At this moment, he takes out a new nameplate and hands it to me. Each nameplate at the Research Institute is endowed with different permissions. The one you had before only allowed free entry to the Research Institute and some REL-aided work laboratories, but now that you are a senior researcher, you will have access to more permissions. As he speaks, he takes a photo of the two of us, designs it into a congratulatory poster, and posts it on the internet. Meanwhile, in another laboratory, Irene still doesn't know about my successful bid. She originally wanted to observe as well, but who asked her to be just a research assistant? She simply isn't qualified, unless she uses her identity as a princess, but that would damage her usual gentle and harmless image. There was another reason she took on this demanding job in the first place: to get closer to Shen Weizhou, because she isn't the queen's biological daughter. If what happened many years ago were exposed, everything she has now would vanish into thin air, so she must, before that happens, marry several high-ranking males to gain the support of their families that way. Even if it later comes to light that they were behind the real princess's disappearance, it won't matter anymore. After all, who would support a self-indulgent, useless female to rise to power? But then, unexpectedly, the researchers nearby suddenly erupted in excitement. Get up! Sue ran past the competition for senior researcher. Too amazing, polite, beautiful aside, but also this much capable. I want to marry him. Countless single males are cheering loudly, even have already regarded surrounding colleagues as love rivals. Only Eileen is so angry that she grits her teeth. No. Impossible, she clearly is already a waste. Why? Like this, however, no matter how she cannot change this fact. Suddenly, from outside came a burst of sharp alarm sound. Beep, beep, beep. Marshal Huo led the first army to successfully rescue District 13 civilians. A large number of mentally collapsed males are on the way. Please Feng Xiangyuan prepare for reception. Please Feng Xiangyuan prepare for reception. I have some doubts. What place is Feng Xiangyuan? Shen Weizhou patiently explains from the side. Feng Xiangyuan is specially used to detain mentally collapsed about to lose reason males every entering. Here male will automatically agree to accept cooperate with the Research Institute's research. After all, every kind of new drug coming out must undergo testing before can be pushed to the public. After listening, I somewhat cannot bear it. They are all warriors fighting bloody battles on the front line. Can't find some females to give them mental soothing? Shen Weizhou only sighs at my naivety. The Empire's female ratio, it has already reached an astonishing 1 to 1,000. The healing power of females is also limited. B-grade females can only soothe 30 times a month, C-grade 6 times, B-grade 9 times. A grade and S-grade have slightly higher numbers, so in order for males to let Females notice them, they have to desperately climb up. These words immediately made me feel somewhat guilty. No wonder the original hosts, several beast husbands, hated her so much. With their abilities, they could have married a high-grade female. But they were bestowed to a waste, of all people, who wouldn't feel uncomfortable at this time. I thought of the last time Yi Nangsing used a soothing agent to return to human form. Doesn't that mean without females, there are other ways to save them? So I proposed to Shen Weizhou the idea of going over to take a look. Shen Weizhou was somewhat surprised. After males' mental power collapses and they become beasts, their robust bodies and strength do not fade because of this. So females generally feel scared upon hearing this. But now she heard me saying I wanted to go take a look. She hesitated for a while, but finally agreed. Soon we arrived at the 3rd underground level. What surprised me was that what was locked in the cages were actually not beasts, but living people. They numbly huddled inside the cages without any human rights. How could this be? What do you think, Ranran, that inside are locked beasts with green glowing eyes? Shen Weizhou just shook her head with a bitter smile. Placebos cannot completely replace the comfort of a female. They only have a suppressive effect, and after the disaster will inevitably usher in more violent outbursts. What's confined here now are all males with nearly 90% mental energy. What can be done now is in the contribution of conducting the final experiment for many males. My gaze fell upon a soldier in military uniform, clearly the one who followed Huo Mingjin to the 13th district. An empire's hero should not meet his fate. Just like that, I turned my head toward Shen Weizhou, revealing a somewhat pleading look. I want to develop a new serum. Is that possible? I already possess the capability of a senior research fellow. Shen Weizhou agreed without a second thought, only stating that before the project's research results come out, the research institute will not provide too much financial support. I nodded repeatedly, then turned to introduce myself to the males inside the cages and afterward said, the idea of wanting to develop a potion came up. I want to establish a dedicated research for a potion that replaces female healing power, and now I already have a preliminary idea. So is anyone willing to help me complete this research? As the words fell, the room fell into deathly silence. Not a single male responded. Shen Weizhou frowned. Though he was pleased that I treated everyone equally, he knew these words were no different from asking if anyone was willing to become a test subject. Just as he was about to tell me to have the guards drag someone in as usual, a male in the corner suddenly raised his hand. I don't know if the research you mentioned will succeed, but it doesn't matter. I am willing to cooperate with you in the limited time I have left. I really liked the word you just used, help. My eyes instantly bright. Now we will definitely achieve it. Originally, Durant had already accepted his gloomy fate, never expecting that a female would appear before him like a ray of light. And this female was so gentle and beautiful. Thus, during the cooperation process, he could feel unprecedented joy and ease. At 6 in the afternoon, I finally ended my first day of work. On the way home by hovercar, the in-car news reported the disappearance of Huo Mingjin. I felt somewhat puzzled. How could someone as powerful as Huo Mingjin go missing? Could it be some tactic not disclosed to the public? I shook my head, pushing the question aside. Since overthinking wouldn't help anyway, when I returned to the villa, it was already empty and deserted. Don't ask why, just know I couldn't afford the wages. Before leaving, I had successfully reached a peaceful separation agreement with the butler. Groping around, I found the power switch button inside the house, but failed to notice a pair of eyes watching me from upstairs, smelling the strange fragrance drifting in the air. The lion silently licked its lips. This scent seemed to emanate from the little female. Her body, just smelling it alleviated the pain in its mind. What if it were to directly consume her? A thought emerged in the lion's mind. So when I turned on the lights in the house, I saw a giant lion right crawling with shining eyes in the staircase. From Yi Nangsing's previous experience, I am well aware that this is the prelude to a beast's attack. Zhao, I immediately turned and ran. Help. Keep kicking those legs. But faced with a lion, my speed really was too slow. Before I could even reach the door, the lion got there first and used its paw to shut the door, then turned and slowly walked toward me. I was so scared I plopped down on the ground, straight up crying from fright. Boo! Don't come any closer. Don't eat me. I don't taste good. Seeing me like this, a feeling somewhat akin to heartache inexplicably flashed through the lion's heart. He wanted to bend down and try to comfort me. But from my perspective, this scene meant I was about to be eaten, scaring me so much I dared not even breathe, my whole body trembling. Seeing the little female so afraid of him, the lion was extremely displeased. She had clearly. No, it wasn't like this last time. There was a wolf that approached her in the cage. And she happily rubbed and pinched it with joy. Wait, what cage? A trace of confusion flashed through the lion's mind. Those memories flowed like water, quickly flashing through his mind and just as swiftly vanished without a trace. Hearing the lion let out dissatisfied, panting, I only felt doomed. My eyes tightly shut, just hoping the lion would be quick when eating meat. Yet the expected pain did not come. Opening my thighs, I saw the lion licking my face gently with its tongue. Seemingly afraid of hurting me, he licked with extreme care. Clearly the king of beasts at the top of the food chain, yet at this moment he didn't care about any dignity or grace, acting completely like an infatuated fool. After finishing, he tilted his head and looked, extending his big head, nuzzling into my arms, as if wondering why I wasn't holding him. He wanted a hug too, but I was somewhat puzzled. Wasn't he going to eat me? Looking into his clear, college student-like eyes, I instantly felt he wasn't so scary anymore, just vaguely feeling those eyes were somewhat familiar. Suddenly, a face flashed through my mind. Huo Mingjin, is that you? Coincidentally, Huo Mingjin had gone missing, but the big lion just tilted his head and looked at me, seeming not to understand what I was saying, only feeling that I smelled so good. Then stuck out its tongue and licked my face again and again. Looking utterly worthless, that guess from just a moment ago was instantly shattered. Huo Mingjin, that god of slaughter, how could he possibly be like this? So where did you come from then? Are you a beastman or a real animal? I really wanted to pet him, but considering the other might be a male who transformed into a lion, I felt doing so could be overly ambiguous. So I could only withdraw my hand. Just then, a message suddenly interrupted on the living room screen. Urgent reminder due to the war in District 13. All animals from the Interstellar Zoo have gone missing. These animals have all received specialized trai. They are gentle and polite. Citizens who see them do not panic. If discovered, please immediately call the zoo's phone number, or those who, like them, may also adopt them. So that's the reason males can transform into animals themselves. The zoo basically had no visitors, unable to make ends meet. They had no choice but to appeal for kind-hearted people to adopt them. I prepared to pick up my phone and call. But then, thinking about how this huge villa only had me in it, I ultimately gave up. Perhaps having such a fluffy creature in my life could add a bit of fun. Baby, from now on, you'll stay here. I'll take care of you. As I spoke, I hugged it tightly. A rich, warm fragrance instantly filled the lion's entire nasal cavity. Its nose was originally sensitive. With the sudden sniff, his body went limp, his limbs straight as he knelt on the ground, making for an extremely awkward scene. Yet, I felt somewhat puzzled. What's wrong with baby? Is he sick? Just as I reached out to touch his head, the big lion, feeling thoroughly embarrassed, shot up with a whoosh and swiftly left the spot. Before I could even react, the lion had vanished without a trace. Running that fast, he shouldn't have any health issues, right? Then it suddenly dawned on me the lion is a boy, and my face instantly flushed red. It seems I'll have to maintain some distance from now on. Once I figured out the reason, I immediately felt at ease. Having been home for half a day, I was also hungry. There were still some green vegetables, noodles, and eggs left in the fridge, but that's still better than drinking nutrient solution. After a round of rummaging in the kitchen, a bowl of egg and vegetable noodles so delicious it could make neighborhood children cry was freshly prepared. The lion that had originally run away was drawn back by the aroma. Is baby hungry too? Mom already prepared your food long ago. The moment I decided to adopt the lion, I expedited an online order for a few pieces of premium beef. However, the lion didn't seem interested at all. Instead, he kept wagging his tail at my bowl of noodles. Having never raised a lion before, I instinctively thought animals shouldn't eat human food, so I hurried forward and hugged his big head. Baby, you can't eat this. Who knew the big lion? Acting coquettishly, it licked and licked my face. This time, I was truly certain this big lion absolutely could not be Huo Mingjin. That tough guy, even when he's in heat, he definitely still has that cold face. Ultimately, under the big lion's offensive, I completely couldn't hold out anymore. All right, stop licking. How about I give you a little something to eat? I symbolically scooped out a small portion for it, and also shared half an egg and some vegetables. All right, you can only eat this much. I was originally worried it wouldn't be satisfied, but unexpectedly, it ate happier than anyone, wagging its tail almost into a flower after eating and drinking its fill. When I thought about washing up and then going to bed, but after closing the bathroom door, The lion started getting restless. It didn't want the little female to leave itself. Its own line of sight, it wants to be with it all the time. Suddenly, its gaze falls on the bathroom doorknob as if it knows what to do to see the beautiful female at this moment. I, washing up nicely inside the bathroom, am completely unaware of the big lion's inner thoughts. Because the villa only has me in it, so I didn't lock the door. Who would think a lion would run in to peek, first to poke in? Is a big, furry head for some reason. At this moment, a feeling called shame actually flashes through the lion's heart. It seems to know what it's doing isn't quite honorable, but it really wants to see the little female and even deliberately lowers its breathing, carefully closing the door. But I still faintly heard a click, however, because I couldn't open my eyes while washing my hair. I thought it was just my imagination. After all, the security here is very good, yet I didn't know the big lion had already stared dumbfounded. It even swallowed its saliva in a human-like way. The sound was very faint, but this time I still heard it and abruptly opened both eyes. Who's there? The momentarily stunned lion snapped back to reality. It wanted to sneak out, but I still saw it. The normally majestic big lion uncharacteristically felt a pang of shame and annoyance, hurriedly using its paw to cover its own face. Although it doesn't have human memories at this time, its intuition tells it, if I run away now, I definitely won't get to see beautiful females in the future. I was completely stunned. You shameless big pervert lion, you actually peeked at me bathing. Fuming, I went up and punched it, not realizing that the force in the lion's eyes wasn't me hitting it out of anger, but more like affection between humans. Smelling the scent in the air, my whole body felt like lying on a soft cloud, seeing its tail spinning wildly. I got even angrier and he kicked it in the butt. Get out. The lion, receiving the command, quickly extended its two front paws to grab the doorknob and swiftly slipped out. I was directly amused by anger, so it opened the door itself. 10 minutes later, having freshened up, I had just opened the bathroom door when I found the big lion blocking my doorway, as if knowing I was angry, wanting to apologize to me. The moment it saw me come out, it immediately pressed close, howling and yelping. After being pushed away by me, it quickly nuzzled its big fluffy head against my chest again and again, instantly melting away my temper. But rules still had to be set. I immediately pointed at the doorknob. From now on, without my permission, you are not allowed to come in, do you hear me? After saying that, I just felt like I'd gone crazy. I actually expected a lion to understand human words. Who knew? The big lion let out in a woo sound and my eyes instantly lit up. Lift up its head, baby, you can understand what I'm saying, right? Yet the big lion just tilted its head in confusion. Head, all right, I shouldn't have held onto this hope. If it really could understand human speech, I should be questioning its tidy instead. After a whole night of messing around, I'm already exhausted and sleepy. I simply made a nest on the ground. Be good, baby, the sleeping bed I bought for you won't arrive until tomorrow, so you'll have to make do tonight, I said as I wearily lay down on the big bed. Leave. The big lion bewildered in the wind, it sniffed its own nest. Not fragrant at all. Then it turned to look at the little human on the bed, clearly not wanting to sleep alone, yet it found a reason for itself. The night is too cold. The pretty female definitely can't make it through alone by herself. Its belly just happens to provide warmth for the little female. Yes, that's it. I absolutely don't have any improper thoughts. Thinking this, the big lion leaped up, landing directly on the bed, and licked my face. I drowsily opened my eyes. Baby, don't mess around. Go back to your own bed to sleep. I reached out and patted its head, and the lion indeed walked away, but lay down by the bedside, refusing to leave, even making whimpering sounds. Extremely pitiful. Who can resist this in the end? My heart softened and I waved to it. Then come over and sleep, but mommy still has to work tomorrow. You have to be good. Oh, I originally thought that large beasts would emit waves of snores while sleeping, but I never expected this sleep to be unusually well. Early the next day when I woke up, I hugged the big lion and took a deep breath before reluctantly getting out of bed. Before leaving the house, I prepared the big lion's lunch and the water has all been replenished. At this moment, the big lion realized I was going out and trotted happily, wanting to follow, but I refused. All right, no, baby, mom has to go out to work. I'll come back later to be with you, okay? This time, my attitude is very firm. No matter how much the big lion sprinkled sugar and acted cute, it wasn't gonna work. In the end, the big lion had no choice but to compromise. Arriving at the lab, I entered. I got into work mode, but I didn't notice a red mark had appeared on my neck, which was from rough housing with the lion last night when. Left with caution, such a position appears extremely ambiguous, but in a world with more males and fewer females, this is really too normal. However, it's just unknown which male is so lucky to be favored by the little female. Everyone is guessing in their hearts. Where, in the office, on the other side, Shen Weizhou, since he saw me yesterday, suddenly an inexplicable emotion surged within his heart and he had no idea where this emotion came from. What does that mean? It's just that upon hearing I came to the research institute. As if driven by some inexplicable force, I ended up at the laboratory where I was. And that red mark, he naturally saw it too. As a possessive male himself, he knew all too well what it was. What does it mean? It's silently warning other males not to approach. He finds it strange. He clearly doesn't like me. Why? After seeing that red mark, the heart will be driven mad with jealousy before he could even figure out the reason. During the experiment, I seemed to sense something and turned to look toward the door, but Shen Weizhou had ducked away a step faster. His heartbeat was very quick. I thought whether I should go out to check. If I go, should he escape right now or wait and see what happens? Explain to me why you're avoiding me. In that instant, countless emotions flashed through his mind. His heart felt as if it were in raging flames. Tormented, yet I only thought it was my own delusion and continued to lower my head and work on the experiment. In my hands, Shen Weizhou relented. While feeling angry, I also inexplicably felt a wave of loss and left the scene as if fleeing. Half an hour had passed and the experiment finally arrived at the most crucial step, but when organizing the materials, I found one item was out of stock. I furrowed, frowning. When can this material arrive? At last, our elite heroic spirits have finally got the opportunity to shine. The nearest male to me rushed to explain, this material is extremely expensive and requires the dean's approval to use. Since the original owner has been found, the photo information has never been publicly disclosed, and it is not known that Shen Weizhou is the original owner of this body. One of the fiancés, so that male, while explaining, while subtly winking at me, but never thought it would return to real. Shen Weizhou from the lab happened to witness the scene. Su Ran, come here, I need to talk to you. As he spoke, he shot another dark, stern look. Look at this. As for you all not doing the experiments properly, do you deserve the high salary the research institute gives you? In an instant, everyone, all the males have become obedient, lowering their heads to tend to their own matters. Shen Weizhou treats the males with a cold face, but when he looks at me, his eyes holding a faint warmth within, even he didn't realize his own thoughts. When I saw him, my eyes also lit up. I was just about to go find him to approve the materials though. Shen Weizhou, however, pulled me into an unoccupied corner. The matter of the materials can wait a while. Su Ran, right now there is something more important matter you need to pay attention to. Seeing Shen Weizhou's serious expression, my body instinctively straightened up a bit. Did I have some? Are there any places where I didn't do well? I will definitely correct them. As I spoke, I recalled everything I had done today, but find my every step was clearly taken according to the requirements. So where exactly did things go wrong for Shen Weizhou to single me out and mention me? Awake. The next second, the man's cool fingertips stroked my neck, carrying a hint of almost imperceptible jealousy. This maneuver was finished. It completely surpassed my expectations. Suddenly, taking 2 steps back, you, what are you doing? Shen Weizhou's face remained cold and detached, and he spoke some incomprehensible words, something about the red marks from being close to a male and something else arousing male restlessness. Where do I get that from? Suddenly catching sight of the transparent glass nearby, Shen Weizhou had just touched it. A conspicuous red mark has prominently appeared on that spot, so I had to work at the research institute looking like this today. My little face instantly blushed, furiously. No, it's not like that. It's just that my pet is too clingy. It must have accidentally gotten on me. For no reason, my innocence was sullied and I stammered incoherently in. I can be scolded, but I absolutely cannot bear such a name. Sound, or else what will my colleagues think of me in the future? I was still afraid Shen Weizhou wouldn't believe it. I never expected. He just gave a soft hum. Originally, when encountering a vexed mood, it inexplicably became somewhat better because of my explanation. I believe you. I breathed a sigh of relief, but I still couldn't always. Might as well go back now. Dean, do you have a band-aid here? Never expected Shen Weizhou to actually pull one out from his pocket. Band-aid. Just as I reached out to grab it, Shen Weizhou's hand suddenly held mine. I looked at him somewhat confused. What's wrong? Shen Weizhou lightly coughed. Actually, he didn't even know why he acted this way, but since it has come to this, I can only find an excuse that is somewhat acceptable. You can't see, let me help you, before I could counter. Before she could react, Shen Weizhou had already pressed close his cool fingertips, giving it a fleeting touch before pulling away. Alright, I'm feeling a bit uneasy. After sincerely thanking him, she took the materials and hurriedly fled, unaware that behind her, Shen Weizhou had already switched into self-seduction mode. The female actually took the initiative to explain to him. Could it be that he was afraid he would get jealous? Could it be that he liked him this much? As he thought about it, his heart began pounding wildly, and I, however, was wholly immersed in the experiments. Finally, after several days of my continuous efforts, Durant's collapse value went from 91% dropped to 89%, although it only dropped by 2 percentage points. Yet it was a scene that transcends eras. After all, when the collapse value exceeds 90%, the fate of males is left with nothing but awaiting death. At this moment, I am even happier than Durant because it proves the direction of my research is correct. Durant, however, was somewhat, this is clearly a male matter, so why are you, a female, so serious and hardworking? Because males are also the empires, a part of it, and you are the heroes who defend the empire. The heroes' ending should not be locked in cages to serve as subjects of experiments. Little white mouse, if possible, I hope to give the males a chance to freely choose. There is a saying in my hometown, give me liberty or give me death. Durant was instantly stunned, staring at my face for a long time without regaining his composure. Perhaps he never even dreamt. I never expected that a female could actually take their considerations to such an extent. Suddenly, the man half kneels before me. Could I have the honor of being one of your valiant warriors, even if I could only glimpse your grace from afar once a day? The man's tone, sincere, as if with just my nod. Lieutenant Durant of the 1st Legion would become one of my personal guards. He knew himself should not have been so impulsive, yet he still wished to follow his heart and fight for himself one more time. May I have the honor to address you as female master? Facing this sudden confession, I suddenly felt a bit at a loss. Sorry, I haven't considered that aspect for the time being, although Durant, I was prepared in my heart, but hearing these words still brings some disappointment. No need to apologize. I was the one being abrupt. The air becomes unusually quiet, just as I was thinking about how to break this awkwardness. A sudden flashing broadcast message appeared on the large screen above. Rest, Major General Yu Nangsing led the 1st Army Corps back. Still no trace of Marshal Huo Mingjin was found. Queen Belina and Aelin, the princess and all the ministers were welcoming on Central Avenue. In the scene, Yu Nangsing was leading the soldiers forward. Due to Huo Mingjin's due to the traces, Yu Nangsing grew up overnight, his entire demeanor sharp and fierce, but the originally neat army suddenly changed. Then chaos erupted. Yu Nangsing, standing in the middle, had a flushed red face and was kneeling painfully on the ground, his entire body between silver wolf and human, switching back and forth between forms.